Week in review, Monday, May 13th. At Rambler 5900, what's your opinions on advanced calisthenics and CrossFit events? I remember there was a static hold handstand test for time in the box test, which Katrin won. What are your thoughts on these movements in the games or semifinals? Front lever on pull-up bar for time, straddle planche static hold, the human flag for time on the side of the rig, maybe a bear crawl race. Well, so a bear crawl race, from all of the things you mentioned before that, is the most accessible for most athletes. Some of those other movements you described or talked about there are incredibly challenging, and I'd say some of the athletes probably couldn't even do. Advanced movements, advanced calisthenics, and CrossFit events. It's interesting. I think they have their place, and I think they have their time, but they need to be dosed the right way, and it depends on what else is in the spectrum of programming for that given event. Sometimes it's okay to push the boundaries and bring in some of those movements and play with them, but not all the time, and not if it's going to skew the results of the given test so much that if you can't do that, you won't be able to advance on to other pieces of the workout. Or if you can do that, versus athletes who can't, you have a huge advantage. And let me say it in this regard. If one athlete or three athletes can't do an advanced movement that we add to the games or to a semifinal or to an event, not too big of a deal if there's 30 or 40. If 20 or 30 of them can't do it, but only a few can, probably more of an issue. So it really depends. It really depends what your intent is. And sometimes there might be a point where you don't want 30 or 40 of them to be able to do the movement. But I would say then if that's the case, it needs to be something that's on the tail end of a bunch of other stuff, so you can rank people through all that other stuff and then ding them or highlight their deficiency at the end of it. So it all depends. Human flag for time on the side of the rig, personally, I don't think I'd ever program that. Front lever on pull-up bar for time, really hard to judge, especially as your body rocks. What are we looking for? Straddle planche static hold. In general, not a huge fan of the static holds as standalone tests. That being said, you did point out one thing in stage one of the semifinals or of the games a couple years ago we did, which was the static handstand hold in the box that Katrin did. At USA 2914, I think you recently talked about games, athletes, training, and affiliates versus non-affiliated gyms. What are your thoughts about games athletes needing to hold an L1 or higher and require them to take the judges course? I understand that there is a difference between the sport, the games, and the methodology, but I think it might help the athletes to understand movement standards, and judging if they're required to have some knowledge of the methodology side of things. Some athletes seem to be so disconnected from the roots of CrossFit. I do agree. I think that's a great idea. I don't think it's anything we should dictate or mandate on them. I think it would be great if a majority of the athletes did have their level 1 or higher and they did take the judges course. I imagine more of them have taken the judges course than have been to an L1. I do think as the years have gone on, and I've talked about this before, the athletes are becoming more and more focused on just the sport side of it and less connected to some of the methodology pieces of it, training in an affiliate, actually being coaches, having a level 1, etc. Some athletes seem to be so disconnected from the roots of CrossFit. Yep, same point we're talking about there. Good idea. I like it. But I don't think it's anything we're going to mandate. I highly encourage all games athletes or CrossFit athletes or CrossFit enthusiasts in general take the level 1, but definitely can't mandate it. At Stephen Dix 8042, why are you restricting people who can message you on Instagram? CrossFit is going to die if it does not up its game, especially in the media circle, not showing the Friday games, the semifinals. Sad and extremely disappointing as well. Crap. Thank the Lord God for Mayhem and their media department. Piss poor Dave. Up your game. Why are you restricting people who can message you on Instagram? I don't even know what that means. I don't even know how to do that. I'm not restricting people who can message me on Instagram. You can message me on Instagram. That doesn't mean I'm going to see it or read it. I get a fuck ton of Instagram messages on my big account. I will say I block people. If I see something stupid or something I don't like, I block people all the time. Why do I block people? People are really critical of me for blocking people. It's my page, it's my account. If you talk shit once, you're showing a tendency to be disrespectful, and you're probably going to continue that pattern of behavior. So therefore, I don't want you to live or to have access to my page, and so that's why I block people. Again, that's different than restricting people who can message you on Instagram. That's not the case. I don't even know how I would do that. And then the rest of this, I don't like your tone, so I'm going to move on. At Kipping It Real CrossFit. I like this. I like that, at Kipping It Real. Kipping It Real. Not keeping it real, kipping it real. Serious question. Wouldn't you rather Hiller have released the workouts once we're at that point? From his perspective, not knowing if CrossFit would release them early, isn't it better that Hiller did that than no one? I don't understand what you're saying there. I understand you don't love the way he does things, but I mean, your boy Sevon was right there too, taking Hiller's motivation at face value. Since we aren't mind readers, wasn't. I don't even know. There was nothing up with Hiller. I wasn't being critical. I was just saying he does what he's doing what he does, and I was also saying he is a joker. I don't understand what your point is. At ING Mark Ronfeld 6174. So when they give the win to the wrong boxer, do they change the result the day after? Okay, so let's fucking talk this one through. Clearly very different things. One's an in-person event with in-person judges and a referee, and then the other is an online competition that we're running, that we've used this model for a few years now. And again, boxing's been around for over a century in its current form, and for millennia in the art of two men fighting each other. All that being said, I saw a fight this weekend where they did give the win to the wrong fucking boxer, and then they had to reread the scorecards, and they gave it to the right boxer. And so it was a clusterfuck. It was a shit show, but they made a huge mistake after the fight. It was two females fighting, and they gave the win to the wrong one. At Kelly Cavalli 82. LOL. Hiller clearly got under your skin, and you do obviously care. Otherwise, you haven't talked about it so long, calling him the Joker. Just own it. CrossFit is still doing things wrong. I don't care if you allegedly reviewed 1,000 videos. That equals what, 166 per region? I mean, that's not good enough when people get pushed out of a qualifying position. If you don't review the people now ahead of them, it's just wrong. He didn't get under my skin. Last week, I reported on how it all went down, and he put it out, and I said, because it's like in the Joker that he said he was a dog chasing a car. I made that comparison. That he did it, and ask other people who've asked me about this. I don't care that he posted them. He just did what he does. I care more that they were leaked than the fact that he posted. I would be disappointed if he had them and didn't post them. How about that? It's just how he does his thing. So he did not get under my skin. Are you ready for you to rock? Dave, I have a ton of respect for you. I believe you tell the truth and mean what you say. I challenge you and/or HQ to set up the workouts and judge an athlete that is out of the running for the games, video it, and put it out there for the world to see how accurate it truly can be. I don't understand this one either. Maybe something's up with me today. I'm not understanding a lot of what's being said. At Gucci Reed 1. Seems like athletes are treating the CrossFit rulebook as if it's a democracy. The reality is that athletes voluntarily sign up for competition and agree to the rules as they are written. Unfortunately, there's a lack of ownership and victim mentality across the community at times. As you said, CrossFit executed on the rules they had written and continued to evaluate for improvement in seasons to come. Well, thank you for that. At Ben Tanner, 8797. Hey Dave, I brought some leather coasters from you and they are amazing. Although I feel like I need a manly drink to set on them other than my morning coffee. Do you have any whiskey recommendations? I don't have any whiskey recommendations right now. I'm pretty. I like to experiment. I try a lot of different things. I'm newer to whiskey drinking, so I don't think I have an as developed taste to have some great recommendation that's going to be profound. But just experiment, have fun with it. I will say the leather coasters, I don't have any currently available on the site. Thank you for the purchase. I'm glad you enjoy them. I do have olive oil still, so if you guys are looking for olive oil, extra virgin organic olive oil, locally sourced, I have some available. And I have some belts. I made some leather belts. Actually, I'm wearing one. Ugh. Leather belts with titanium hardware, so that's kind of unique. The buckles titanium and the screws, the Chicago screws, that's what these are called, are titanium. And then so I take a big piece of a big hide. This batch, not this one, but the current batch that's on the site is from Herman Oak Leather. Herman Oak is a tannery that's been around for over a century, and they're known for high quality leather. So I take a big hide, then I cut the straps, and then I finish the edges, and then I mount the hardware, cut the holes to mount the hardware. And so I have this all set up, and it's a big long strap. And then when you order it, you have to watch a video. There's a very specific way for ordering this belt. You just don't order your pant size. You have to basically measure from right here, from this point, all the way down to the hole you most commonly wear on a belt. Give me that length, and then I go and I cut the tail end off, and then I cut the 5 holes. So leather belts with titanium hardware. Do it for fun. It's a cool way to express some of the creativity. It's a good creative outlet for. I enjoy making things like this and doing this. And then since I had the olive oil site, I decided to start selling some leather stuff on there. I've been doing leather for a while, giving stuff to friends, etc. Anyway, so that took a crazy turn. At Living Big One, hey Dave, I appreciate the level of ownership taken during the quarterfinals workouts. Upholding the standards is more important than individuals' feelings. I hope you have a team as devoted and thoughtful to the methodology and sport supporting you. Any chance you will be at any of the semis? Cheers. We do have a great team. We have a great team working on all aspects of this, not only in sport, but throughout CrossFit. And I am very privileged to work with them and honored to serve them and the community. At Chico Quesada. Oh, and will I be at any of the semis? So I was supposed to go to the European semi. I told Daniel Chaffee, who's running the French Throwdown, I would be there. Been trying to make it work, but not going to make it. Bosman will be going out to Europe, but I won't be able to go. I am actually leaving tomorrow morning. I was supposed to leave today, but the trip had to get pushed. I'm leaving tomorrow morning to Fort Bragg, and I'll be in Fort Bragg, or what do they call it now? I forgot. For the week. I'll be there for a few days with some of our Army efforts that we have that are ongoing. Oh, and then I will go to the 2 North America semis. So I'll be at Knoxville, and I will be in Carson. So if you have not purchased your tickets yet or made plans to go to the semifinals, tickets are still available for both events. Next week, okay, this is at Chico Quesada. Next week, I'm coming to hear Dave talking about Jesus. I'm not going to talk about him on this one. I'll leave it there. At Demothesis. When you finish reading the Bible, maybe a podcast with Greg Amundsen in some form or fashion would be a great way to organize your thoughts through conversation. I would love to have a conversation with Greg Amundsen on the topic. Definitely not ready to do a podcast on it. That's I'd need to organize my thoughts way more before I can talk about this topic on a podcast. This is like I'm super entry level right now. I'm in the beginning journey of learning about and studying some of this stuff. So on that boxing match I was talking about earlier, that was a undercard. It was two females who fought on an undercard of Lomachenko. Lomachenko fight this weekend. It was really cool to see him fight and dominate his opponent. So hopefully he can come back into the scene and have some other big fights. Anyway, Murph's coming up. Don't forget to sign up. Service Cup. Don't forget to sign up for Murph at the Murph Challenge website. Donate, support the Michael Murphy Foundation through the Murph Challenge. Also, the Service Cup is coming up too at the end of the month. If you have not signed up yet, sign up for another chance to compete with me. And we have some pretty cool shirts available through that, through signing up for that competition. And again, with the Service Cup, you don't have to have to have done the Open, so anyone can sign up for it, and you could measure up against ability people in your occupation, in a certain number of occupations. And then finally, as I mentioned before, once again, semifinals coming up. So be sure to get tickets. And also the age group online semifinals are closing today. So pretty soon we'll actually have our first batch of athletes who are slated to go to the CrossFit Games. And their event will be in Birmingham later in the year after the CrossFit Games, because this is the first year where we've separated the age groups from the CrossFit Games. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.